What's up, you guys? We have a very special guest. She's not only a singer-songwriter, she's also a Stanford undergrad, a true queen. Taylor Gray is in the house, so don't go away.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Blessed about the grad part.
You guys hear this banger? It's Taylor Gray in your headphones, on your laptops. And this is from your new EP, Gray.
Yes.
Taylor Gray, thank you for coming in the studio today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
I was reading up about you, and I was like, okay, she's really cool. This album's really cool. And then to just heighten everything up, she is a Stanford grad studying neuroscience.
Yeah, I mean, I've not been this excited about my schooling.
Just let me gas you up, queen.
I know. Can you come to NorCal with me?
Yeah.
Like, I feel excited now. Usually I'm in my room for finals just like dying, but this is great.
Did finals just end?
Yes. Thank God.
Oh, God. I can't imagine the pre-med track.
I'm not on the pre-med track. It's through the psychology thing. So I'm more about like the brain.
And that has to relate with your music in some way, because when you have that deep of an understanding of the brain, I feel like I'm already emotional, and that would just trigger. I would have to write.
It's definitely like a very good point. I feel that all the time, but sometimes it's like the too much knowledge for your own good.
Oh, yeah.
You'll know someone who'll be like psychoanalyzing them, being like, I know why you're doing it. Like, I know why you ghosted me. It's because you have insecure daddy issues, Chad. Like, it's really, they just don't like you.
I would use that as such a bad weapon all the time, because I already I think I'm so intuitive, and I'm like, that's why he's doing it. Like, it's so narcissistic of me. But if I had the Stanford undergrad background, I'd be like, no, I know this.
Which is not good for any party involved.
So you just came out with this EP, Gray, and when I was reading about you, you stand for hard work, self-love, and girl power, and that's clear throughout the album. Is that kind of the tone you like to set for your life inside and outside of music?
Absolutely. I think if I really just want to be a voice of someone, like, really setting like a different precedent, like education and music can coincide. When I was younger, all of like amazing female artists, they all like dropped out of school or started when they were so young, and that's definitely a viable path for some people. But as a young kid who like always was a teacher's pet, and like I mean it, I remember the one teacher who didn't like me. Like, I remember her name, and she was a second grade teacher. I would call her out.
I was just thinking of my fourth grade teacher. I will, Miss Hancock. We're never gonna be okay.
Never forget. But yeah, so I was like, okay, I have these two passions. Why not try it together and show that there's like, you don't need to give up on one thing to pursue another thing. It's gonna be extra work, but you can have two goals simultaneously, and like women don't need to fit into a box of being like, oh, you're just the singer girl, oh, you're just an actress, you're just entertainment. Like, there's so many fantastic actors, like Demi Moore. Like, there's so many fantastic people who have really great educations, and people downplay that all the time.
Totally. I love that you say that. And with this new album, how the heck did you write? When did you write it? Were you writing it on your summer vacation? Because I feel like when you're studying neuroscience, when would you have time to be writing, or is it your release from school?
It's both. How do I have time? I choose not to study. So, no, I'll get really wrapped up in like doing my own thing and then forget that I have like a test or PSET due. But I spent, the first song I wrote was Non-Goodbye, and I wrote that in August of last year, 2017. So it's been a culmination of like a lot of stuff over time, over weekends, piecing together different parts of myself and like weaving it together, and we finished up in May, so it was a long process.
That's awesome. But you've been writing for a large portion of your life. When did you start?
I started late elementary school, early middle school, Didn't play any instruments, just would write down lyrics and have a melody in my head and somehow could remember all of them. But I think it really hit home when the first love of my life, 7th grade boyfriend, we dated for like 2 weeks. It was magical.
Heartbreak.
He broke up with me before the big volleyball game. Okay? I was on JV, so not even like the good team. But I remember he broke up with me and I just started crying. And I was like, I'm going to write a song about this. And I did. And that's when it really hit home for me, was that breakup.
I love how sometimes it's just those simple stories, but when you're young, it's such a big deal.
Oh my God. It was like the biggest life event I had at that point. I remember I walked into like the locker room and my friends were like, what's wrong? And then we all started singing Single Ladies because like it had just come out.
A banger as well.
Still.
Never will it not be.
Iconic.
So do you get to perform at school any times, like on campus or around campus, or no live performances?
No, I refuse to.
What? Taylor, we gotta get you out there, girl.
I will not perform live at Stanford. I cannot.
You cannot have this winged eyeliner on fleek and not perform live.
Well, thank you. But no,
Why?
It is for some reason so much more terrifying to me to perform. Like, first of all, there's maybe like a coffee shop that people go play live. That is so much more terrifying to me than performing in front of like 1,000 people that I don't like know.
That's crazy how it is like that sometimes.
Yeah. And like people are there curing cancer. I'm like, what am I doing up here? Like, no thanks.
You need to be the songbird at the side when they take a break from curing cancer. They need music.
Right. Take a break.
What other interests do you have? I know those two must be filling so much of your time.
Yeah, they definitely take up quite a bit. But I'm I'm such a big documentary fan that like I don't even watch real TV anymore.
What are some of your favorites? Because I love documentaries.
Okay, I've told 2 people this, and both of them have been like, that's weird. Today. But I've recently been on a kick where I've been watching all of the Mount Everest expedition documentaries. Like back to back. It's the same information, but like just said in like different versions of like accents, and I find it fascinating.
Oh my, have you seen Blue Planet?
No.
You have to see this one. It's an in-depth view. This season 2, I've seen all of them, goes into the oceans, and it's nuts.
Oh my gosh.
You wouldn't think these animals existed on our Earth.
That stuff freaks me out. Like, we don't know what's down there.
No. It's the most underexplored place. We know more about space than the water.
That's wild.
But we have you as a neuroscience, so maybe you can get your science friends to figure something out.
Oh, man.
On the topic of girl power, because that is such an important thing nowadays, how do you have a good, solid group of friends that support you?
I do. I'm really lucky. I don't have many friends. But
yeah,
like,
small is better, man.
I think so. When I was younger, it was such a big deal for me. Like I was never part of the popular group.
Good.
Like my mom used to call me a floater. I would just, hop around to different friends.
Your mom?
I think she said it to like make me feel better. Like I would be like, I don't have friends. I'm not in a clique. You're a floater, sweetie. It's fine. But
it's good. That means you can get along with a wide variety of people.
Hopefully that's what it means. But it used to matter so much to me, and then I think transitioning into my later years in college, it became more apparent that it's not about that, and it's so much more important to find like maybe 2 or 3 people that you rely on and you can call when like shit hits the fan.
Totally. I mean, all those big groups and a lot of times the popular girls, I noticed in college, I actually was in NorCal too. I went to UC Davis.
Oh my gosh.
And I played field hockey. We went to Stanford a lot. I love Stanford campus. But the people with large groups, I would see the way that they kind of work together, and I was amazed by the fakeness. So I feel like, especially when you're in the entertainment industry, you have to be guarded.
It's so true, and I'm sure you know exactly the same thing. It's so fake. sometimes. Or I think it's also just different levels of, I don't want to say maturity, because I feel like that makes me sound like I'm putting myself on a pedestal, like I'm mature. That's not what I
Yeah,
think.
no, I hear you.
But like, even as an artist, I feel like you have some level of like automatic vulnerability. So I'm like, all right, here's me, and these are all of my innermost feelings, and that's like step one to getting to know you. So like having conversations that are so surface level seems
Wasting
so
your time.
mundane. Yeah, you're like, why? But for other people, that's normal because they're not out here just ripping open their chest for everyone.
Isn't that amazing? I know, it's kind of like we've skipped that. I can't even play that game with you because we're just open books.
That's exactly what it is.
When are you gonna perform though? Do you have any sets coming up? I know you had one when you debuted the EP.
Yes, so that was an awesome show. I'm doing a couple more shows starting in the new year. I'm gonna start touring again.
Yes!
So I'm really excited. Can't announce anything just yet, but I am super excited to get back on the road.
But we can find that out through your social media.
Social media, my
Where
website.
can we find you?
Yeah, I am everything at I am Taylor Gray.
Perfect.
I spelled
Easy.
gray with an E. Cooler than the color.
Right? I love that.
saying.
You guys, I am Taylor Gray. That's where you guys can stay up to date on tour information as well as your website, which is
Yeah, Taylor Gray Music.
awesome. I will definitely be creeping that as soon as I'm done here. I'm Steph Sabraw. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Steph Sabraw. Taylor, thanks so much for coming in. Next time you're on your break from being a Stanford All-Star, you have to come back.
I would love to. Thank you so much.
We'll see you later, guys.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.